At first, I only wanted to look into the eyes of the man sleeping with my wife. 10 minutes later, I was flat on a dirty bar floor, blood in my mouth, people staring at me, and I was smiling. Because the man who punched me thought he had won. He had no idea he had just stepped into the first piece of a trap I would build with my own hands, one careful move at a time. Asterisk asterisk. And before this was over, the whole town would watch him fall. This is a story _betrayal revenge stories _ Rachel. Pretty woman. Works in HR. Way too good for the boring life she's stuck in. The men at the table laughed. Not normal laughter. Not kind laughter. It was the ugly kind. Loud. Cocky. Mean. I sat alone at the end of the bar with half a beer in my hand, trying not to turn around too fast. But every word from that table felt like a nail being pushed into my chest. Isn't that cheating? One of them asked with a grin. The man they were all listening to gave a lazy shrug. I'm not married. And if her husband can't keep her happy, that's not on me. More laughter. I stared down at my bottle so hard I thought the glass might crack. My jaw locked. My fingers tightened around the cold neck of the beer. Then he kept going. Besides, he said like he was talking about some cheap hobby, it's not even serious. I mean, what would I want long-term with a married woman? But for now, she's educational. That word hit me like a slap. Educational. Like my wife was not a person. Not a woman. Not a human being with a heart and a home and a husband. Just a lesson. Just practice. A blonde woman at the table leaned in with a smirk. Educational how? The man laughed into his drink. Let's just say married women are very thankful when someone pays attention to them. Very thankful. They'll do things their husbands never even think to ask for. The whole table exploded. Crude laughter. Dirty jokes. Smirks. And just like that, the last tiny piece of doubt inside me died. I set my beer down very slowly. If I moved too fast, I might do something stupid. And I could not afford stupid. Not tonight. I stood up and turned around. Excuse me, I said. The voices stopped. The table looked at me. He looked at me too. Big guy. Broad shoulders. Clean beard. Gym body. The kind of man who knew exactly how handsome he was and made sure everybody else knew it too. Travis, right? I asked. He frowned at me, annoyed that I had stepped into his little show. Yeah. Do I know you? I walked closer until I stood by the table. Noah Mercer. I think we have a mutual friend. I watched the moment it clicked. First surprise. Then amusement. Then that ugly little shine in his eyes. Well, he said. The construction worker. That's right. I pulled out the empty chair at the end of the table. Mind if I sit? One of his buddies shifted awkwardly. The blonde stopped smiling. Travis leaned back. Actually, we're kind of in the middle of something here. I bet you are, I said. Sounded like you were talking about your girlfriend. Rachel. That did it. The table went silent so fast it felt like all the air got sucked out of the room. Travis's jaw tightened, but he still smiled. Not a warm smile. A shark smile. The kind you see right before teeth. She's not my girlfriend, he said. She's just a friend with benefits. Benefits, I repeated softly. Yeah. I guess that's one way to say it. He put his drink down. Art. Look, pal, I don't want trouble. If you can't keep your wife happy, that's not my problem. I looked right at him. You're right. It's not your problem. He raised one eyebrow. It's your opportunity, isn't it? That made him stand up. He was tall. Easy 6 feet. Solid muscle. Loud confidence. The kind of man who had lived most of his life believing bigger meant better. Suddenly I was looking up at him and the bar around us went quiet. Even the music seemed smaller. You got something to say? He asked. Say it. I held his eyes. I was just wondering what kind of man goes after married women. His nostrils flared. I kept going. Seems like the kind of thing a coward would do. His face turned red so fast it was almost funny. What did you just call me? A coward, I said. A man who can't compete for a woman who's free, so he goes after women who are already tied down. Like shooting fish in a barrel. One of the guys at the table muttered, "Oh man." Travis stepped closer. You want to take this outside? Not really, I said. I just wanted to meet the man who's been sleeping with my wife. Wanted to see what all the fuss was about. And then it happened. His fist came at me like a truck. I saw it. I could have moved. Maybe not enough to avoid all of it, but enough to soften it. I did not move. I let it hit. Pain blasted through my jaw so hard that white light flashed in my head. My feet left the floor. I crashed sideways, hit a chair, then the sticky wood boards beneath me. For 1 second I heard nothing. Then the room came back. Gas. Someone cursing. A chair scraping. Noah. Sam shouted from the pool table across the bar. He started toward us, but I lifted one hand without standing up. It's fine, Sam, I said through blood and pain. Just a misunderstanding. Travis stood over me, chest rising hard, fists still tight. He looked powerful, dangerous, proud. Stay away from me, old man, he snapped. And stay away from Rachel. She made her choice. I touched my split lip and looked at the blood on my fingers. She, I said quietly. Funny. She was crying about it just yesterday. He laughed once. Colt. She'll get over it. They always do. There was again. That careless way he talked about women. Like they were all the same. Like pain was a phase. Like hearts were toys and homes were games. I pushed myself up slowly. My jaw screamed. My knees ached. But I stayed calm. That mattered more than anything. You're probably right, I said. He looked confused by that. I wiped my mouth with the back of my hand. Well, it was nice meeting you, Travis. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other around. He pointed a finger at me. Not if you're smart. I smiled at him. Not a friendly smile. The kind I gave suppliers when they lied to my face and thought I was too dumb to notice. Oh, I'm smarter than I look, I said. You'd be surprised. Then I turned and walked out of the bar with as much pride as I could still carry. Sam came right behind me. The night air hit my face like ice. My jaw throbbed with every heartbeat. Sam stared at me once we reached my truck. Boss, what in the world was that? You could have taken that guy. Maybe not clean, but you could have done something. I opened the driver's door and leaned against it for a second. And then what? Sam blinked. What do you mean? I become the angry husband who attacked his wife's lover. Poor Rachel gets scared. Poor Rachel runs straight into Travis's arms. Poor Travis becomes the brave man protecting her. Sam's expression changed. He was catching up now. So what's the plan? Patience, I said. And proof. I pulled out my phone and showed him the recording. I had started filming the second I heard Rachel's name. The audio was clear. Clear enough to hear every ugly word. Travis calling her educational. Travis talking about grateful married women. Travis bragging like my wife was some meal he had tasted and reviewed. Sam's eyes widened. You got all that? Every word. He let out a low whistle. That's dirty. Not as dirty as he is. I played one short part again, listening to Travis laugh while he talked about women like they were trophies lined up on a shelf. Sam shook his head. What are you gonna do with it? Nothing yet. I put the phone away and looked across the parking lot, where light spilled from the bar windows onto cracked pavement. Travis thinks I'm simple, I said. He thinks I'm some dumb blue-collar husband who will either cry, crawl away, or throw fists. Sam crossed his arms. And there's a third option. What's that? I looked back at the bar. Tear down his life the same way he helped tear down mine. Slow, careful, step by step. Like any good build. My phone buzzed. Rachel. I opened the text. Travis told me what happened at the bar. This has to stop, Noah. I'm filing for divorce. Asterisk asterisk. For a second, even after everything, that still hurt. Not because I didn't know. Because seeing it in words made it real in a new way. I typed back. Your choice. But you may want to ask Travis about the women before you. Ask Megan Harper's ex-husband how that story ended. Asterisk asterisk. 3 dots popped up. Then vanished. No answer. I drove home to a dark house that still smelled like her shampoo. Her shoes were still by the closet. Her mug was still by the sink. Her blanket was still hanging over the couch where she liked to curl up on cold nights. The house looked full. But it felt empty. I stood in the bedroom doorway and stared at the side of the bed where she used to sleep. For days that empty space had felt like a wound. But that night, for the first time since I found those messages, I smiled. Because Travis thought he had won. He got to throw the punch. He got to play the strong man. He got to humiliate me in front of a crowd. But what he really did was give me exactly what I needed. His voice. His pride. His temper. His pattern. And the best part? He had no clue I was already building the frame around him. 2 weeks later, the whole town was buzzing about the 4th of July parade. In our little corner of Maine, the parade was not just a parade. It was the event. Floats. Flags. Kids with sticky hands. Marching bands that missed half their notes. Small town pride. Old people in lawn chairs. Teenagers pretending not to care while filming everything for social media. I was helping with setup through the construction crew. Reviewing stand. Crowd barriers. Safety checks. Bolts. Platforms. Ropes. Real work. Good work. Honest work. Kept my hands busy. And it put me right in the middle of everything. Rachel was there too, of course. She was on the planning committee, walking around with a clipboard, giving orders like she was running the whole state. Her blonde hair was tied back. Her face looked sharp and perfect. Calm on the outside. Hard to read. If I had not known her so well, maybe I would have believed she was fine. But I knew the little signs. The way she bit the inside of her cheek when she was nervous. The way her shoulders got stiff when she felt watched. The way she avoided my eyes even when she passed only 10 feet away. And next to her was Travis, playing the perfect boyfriend. Tight patriotic shirt. Aviator sunglasses. Easy grin. One hand resting on the small of her back like he already owned her life. Paige trailed them with her phone, snapping pictures, taking videos, collecting content for the internet. Travis loved that. He loved being seen. Sam came up beside me carrying a toolbox. You see them? Hard to miss, I said. He glanced at Travis and Rachel again. Want me to accidentally spill something on his pretty shirt? Not yet, I said. Let them enjoy the sunshine. The parade started at noon. I stood near the reviewing stand, officially there in case anything broke or shifted or needed fixing. Unofficially, I had the best seat in town. Bands marched by. The high school drummers pounded so hard half the little kids covered their ears. The fire department rolled past, waving from polished trucks. The crowd cheered every float like it was the Super Bowl. Rachel and Travis were sitting in premium seats near the front, smiling for cameras, shaking hands, leaning together at all the right times. They looked like a picture. A fake one. And then I saw Morrison Construction coming down the route. My biggest local competitor. Their float was loaded with red, white, and blue streamers. Candy rained into the crowd. Big Hank Lawson stood up front like some parade king, waving at everybody. That was when the idea clicked. I turned to Sam. Need your help with something. His eyes lit up immediately. Now we're talking. We walked over to the spot where the route curved hard by the stand. Mounted on the side of one float was a confetti cannon, packed full and ready for the final blast. Sam looked at it, then at me. Boss, what are you thinking? You remember the county fair? He groaned. You mean the time I accidentally set off the fireworks too early? Exactly. That was a true accident. I know, I said. But you remember how the trigger worked? His mouth slowly pulled into a grin. Yeah, I remember. I looked toward Travis and Rachel. They were walking through the crowd now, shaking hands, smiling, touching people's shoulders like they were already running for office. Think you could accidentally trigger this thing when Travis gets close? Sam folded his arms and studied the cannon like an artist looking at a blank canvas. Might be tricky. I have faith in you. Travis and Rachel got closer. 20 feet. 15. 10. Sam stepped toward the cannon. Then he stumbled. At least that was how it looked. His hand flew out. Grabbed for balance. Caught the trigger. Boom. The cannon fired straight into Travis's chest. Red, white, and blue streamers exploded across him in a wild blast of color and air. The force threw his arms out. He stumbled backward, windmilling like a cartoon. For one perfect second he looked shocked. Then he went down. Hard. And not just onto the street. Right into a fresh pile of horse manure left by the mounted police that had passed earlier. The crowd gasped. Then it started. Laughter. Big, helpless, ugly laughter. Travis rose from the mess like some fallen hero from a bad joke, covered in confetti, dirt, and horse crap. His perfect shirt was ruined. His sunglasses were cracked. There was manure in his hair. And Paige, sweet, useless, online-hungry Paige, had the whole thing on video. Oh my God, Travis. Rachel cried, rushing forward. He shoved one hand out without even looking at her. I'm fine. But he was not fine. Not even close. His face was burning red. The crowd kept laughing. Children were pointing. Old men were wiping tears from their eyes. Teenagers were already replaying the moment on their phones. I jogged over with my best worried face. Sir, are you hurt? I asked. He turned on me with murder in his eyes. That was no accident. I kept my voice calm. Looked like equipment failure. These old cannons can be touchy. Yeah, Sam said, rushing over breathless. I was checking the safety latch when it just went off. Could have happened to anybody. Travis looked from him to me, trying to make it make sense in his head. Because he knew. He knew. But knowing and proving were not the same thing. Rachel grabbed his arm. Come on. We need to get you cleaned up. He pulled away, jaw tight. I said I'm fine. A little kid nearby asked loudly, "Mommy, why does that man smell bad?" The crowd broke again. Rachel's face fell. Travis looked like he might explode right there in the street. But what could he say? That the local builder had arranged for him to be blasted into horse crap by a parade cannon? He would sound insane. So he did the only thing he could do. He left. He walked out of the crowd in ruined sunglasses and dirty clothes, trying to hold onto some scraps of pride while laughter followed him like a second shadow. Rachel followed, throwing me one sharp look over her shoulder. A burning look. A look full of blame and fear. Sam stood beside me, nearly shaking from the effort of not laughing too hard. "Nice work," I muttered. He put a hand to his chest. "Pure accident, boss. Tragic accident." By that evening, Paige's video was everywhere. She posted it with the caption, "When freedom meets confetti." People shared it by the hundreds, then by the thousands. Someone made it into a looping clip. Someone added slow motion. Someone else put dramatic music behind it. Travis Cole, the town's loudest peacock, blasted off his feet and dropped into horse crap in front of everybody. My phone rang just after sunset. "Rachel." I answered. "Hey. I know you did this," she said. "Did what?" "Don't do that, Noah." "The cannon." "Travis." "All of it." I sat back on my porch chair and looked out at the trees. "Rachel, I was 20 feet away. Ask anyone. This is harassment." "No," I said. "This is karma." "Easy mistake, though." Her breathing changed on the other end. Faster. Angrier. "Travis wants to press charges." "For what? Getting hit by patriotic confetti?" She said nothing. Then the line went dead. 5 minutes later, Travis called. I almost laughed before I answered. "You think you're funny?" he snapped. "I think I'm a construction worker who volunteers at town events," I said. "I try not to think too hard beyond that. This isn't over." "I sure hope not," I said. "That clip has been the best thing I've seen all year." He hung up. I poured myself a beer and sat in the dark, scrolling through the comments. People were having the time of their lives. But while the town laughed, I stayed focused. Because this was only the first crack. Embarrassment could sting a man like Travis. Could even make him lash out. But it would not break him. Not yet. 3 days later, he proved me right. I pulled into my construction site just after sunrise and saw the damage before I even killed the engine. All 4 tires on my truck were slashed. Red spray paint covered the side of my trailer. One word, huge and ugly: loser. A folded note was tucked under my windshield wiper. I opened it. "Back off or it gets worse." Sam came up behind me and let out a long breath. "Guy's got a temper." I stared at the damage. "Guy's got no imagination." "You know it's him?" I looked down at the note again. "Oh, it's him." "So what's the move?" "First we call the police. Everything gets documented." Sam nodded. "And then?" "Then we look at the security cameras." His eyes widened. "The hidden ones?" "The same hidden ones I put in last month after those equipment thefts." The cameras were tucked high in the trees around the property. Small. Quiet. Easy to miss unless you knew exactly where to look. Travis did not know. Officer Ben Carter showed up 20 minutes later. Ben and I had gone to school together. Back then he was the football star. Big smile. Big arm. Everybody knew his name. I was the guy building stage walls for school plays and fixing broken sets because nobody else had the patience. Life was strange. We were both still standing in the same town. Just from different angles. Ben looked over the truck and trailer and shook his head. "Looks like somebody really doesn't like you, Noah. Can't imagine why." He took pictures. Measured things. Bagged the note. Asked the usual questions. "Any idea who did it?" I kept my face calm. "Could be anybody. Construction sites attract idiots." He gave me a look that said he knew I was holding something back, but he wrote his report anyway. When he left, Sam and I went into the trailer and pulled up the camera feed. And there he was. Travis. Clear as day. 2 a.m. But up. Spray can in hand. Knife flashing in the work light when he leaned down by the tire. At one point he looked straight up at what he thought was a tree branch. His face filled the frame. Sam slapped the table. "Got him." I watched the screen without smiling. "We got him committing a small crime. That's enough to bury him, isn't it?" "No." Sam turned to me. "No. Not for the ending I want." He frowned. "What do you mean?" I shut the laptop slowly. Travis is playing checkers. Vandalism. Threats. Cheap anger. Caveman stuff. And you? I'm playing chess. He still looked unsure. "We do not use this yet," I said. "Not unless we have to. We let him keep moving. We let him get madder." People like Travis always think their size is power. But anger is a rope. If you pull the right way, they hang themselves with it. Sam was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. That's cold, boss. Cold winds. That night, I drove to Travis's lake house. I parked across the street in the dark where trees covered my truck. His pickup sat in the driveway like a trophy. Black paint, chrome trim, big tires, loud money, loud ego. Lights glowed in the living room. At 9:30, Rachel's car pulled up. I watched her step out and check herself in the side mirror. She fixed her hair, smoothed her shirt, took one breath, then walked to his front door like a woman who had done it many times before. And maybe she had. That truth should have crushed me. Instead, it sharpened me. I waited 1 hour. Then I crossed the street. Travis's truck looked even bigger up close. Clean. White. Proud. The kind of truck a man loved because it helped him feel like more. I did not scratch it. I did not kick it. I did not touch one expensive inch of it. I only slid a note under the windshield wiper. Nice truck. Shame if something happened to it. A concerned neighbor ***. Then I went home. At midnight my phone rang. I answered before the first ring ended. You son of a witch, Travis hissed. It's late for friendly calls, I said. You were here. Was I? Don't play games with me. I yawned on purpose. I'm in bed. Some of us work in the morning. Stay away from my property. Your property? I said. I thought you rented that place. Silence. Heavy silence. I could picture his face in that moment. Eyes wide. Mouth tight. Brain racing. How did I know that? Who was watching? Who had told me? Just stay away, he said at last, but now the swagger was gone. Travis, I said softly, are you okay? You sound nervous. He hung up. I smiled into the dark. The next morning, Officer Ben called me. We got a complaint, he said. Guy says you were on his property last night. Left a threatening note. That's interesting. It was Travis Cole. Ah, I said. The same Travis Cole who dated Megan Harper while she was still married to Scott? Before moving on to my wife. Ben was quiet for one beat too long. Small towns pretended not to gossip. But small towns knew everything. Noah, he said. Ben, were you there? No. My neighbor, Mrs. Doyle, saw me taking out my trash around 10. I've been home. Quiet night. He sighed. I'll check. And Ben? Yeah. You might want to look into whether Mr. Cole knows anything about the damage at my site. More silence. Then, I'll note it. After the call, I went next door and spoke to Mrs. Doyle over her roses. She was one of those sweet old women who always knew too much and enjoyed knowing more. Noah, she said, leaning on her little fence, you look tired. Rough week. Marriage trouble? That made me laugh once. Word travels fast. Faster than wind in this town. I need a favor, I said. Her eyes lit up at once. Thought you'd never ask. By afternoon, Travis's mind was eating itself alive. He called the police again. Then again. Claimed someone was watching him. Claimed he was being threatened. Claimed he was being stalked. But there was no proof. No witness. No camera. No fingerprints. Just his own shaking voice and a note he could not tie to anyone. That was the beauty of fear. Once it got inside a man, it did half the work for you. He was so busy looking for me in the dark that he stopped seeing what he was doing in the light. At the bar that evening, people were talking. Not about me. About him. He came in here losing his mind, the bartender told a crowd of regulars. Wanted me to ban Noah from the place. On what grounds? Somebody asked. Said he was being harassed. Maybe it's guilt, an older man muttered into his drink. Mess around with other men's wives, you start seeing enemies in every shadow. Several heads nodded. Public opinion was changing. Slowly. Quietly. Exactly how I wanted it. Because shame in a small town does not fall all at once. It spreads. One raised eyebrow. One whispered story. One little laugh. One careful doubt. And by the time the person in the middle feels it, the ground is already gone. But I still was not done. Not even close. Because Travis had shown me his biggest weakness when he vandalized my property. Not cruelty. Not pride. Anger. Raw anger. And angry men are easy to guide. All you have to do is make them believe they are still in control. The town's annual Founders' Day celebration took place at Union Hall. Union Hall was one of those old big buildings that held everything a town needed. Weddings. Fundraisers. Dances. School events. Campaign speeches. Community dinners. Memories soaked into the wooden walls. That night it was packed. Half the town showed up in nice shirts, dresses, polished shoes, bright smiles. As far as anyone knew, I was the one hosting. Noah Mercer, local contractor, throwing a community event to lift spirits and celebrate the town. I had arranged the invitations, the sound system, the projector, the tables, the lights, the timing. Every piece was in place. Rachel came, of course. She had to. Not showing up would invite questions, and questions were dangerous now. She wore a blue dress I had bought her for our anniversary 2 years earlier. I remembered the night she tried it on for me. The little spin she did in our bedroom. The soft smile. The way she asked, "Too much?" when she already knew she looked beautiful. That memory tried to hurt me. I would not let it. Next to her stood Travis in a sharp suit that probably cost more than 1 month on my mortgage. He looked polished, recovered, like he thought the worst had passed. Paige drifted from group to group with her phone lifted, catching smiles, glasses clinking, people dancing, people laughing. Sam stood near the bar, sipping beer, watching the room. Mrs. Doyle was near the dessert table, already deep in conversation with 3 women and a plate full of pie. I checked the clock. 8 o'clock. Time. I stepped onto the small stage and took the microphone. "Evening, everybody," I said. The room slowly quieted. Forks stopped. Voices faded. Faces turned toward me. "Thanks for coming out tonight. I know some of you have been wondering why I wanted to throw this party." A little ripple moved through the room. Curious smiles. Expecting something cheerful. I looked straight at Rachel. Her face changed at once. She knew me. She knew that tone. "The truth is," I said, "I wanted to share something important with all of you." Rachel went pale. Travis looked at her, then back at me. I kept my voice even. "Recently, I found out that my wife, Rachel Mercer, has been having an affair with Travis Cole." The room broke open. Gasp. Sharp whispers. Chairs scraping. Phones coming out fast. This was small-town fuel. The kind of moment people talked about for years. Rachel looked like she had stopped breathing. Travis took one hard step forward, but Sam moved off the bar and into his line without making a scene. Just enough to say, "Not yet." I tightened my grip on the microphone. "I know what some of you are thinking," I said. "Why say this in public? Why not handle it in private?" People were staring now. Not blinking. Not moving. "I wanted to handle it in private," I said. But then I heard some things. Things Travis said. About married women. About attention. About gratitude. About what he thinks happens when husbands stop appreciating what they've got. I nodded toward the projector. Sam hit the switch. The lights dimmed. For one heartbeat, the room was black and silent. Then Travis's voice filled the hall. "Clear. Sure. Impossible to deny. The thing about married women," the recording said, "is they appreciate a real man. Someone who knows how to take charge. These soft suburban husbands? They stop noticing what they have." A woman near the front covered her mouth. On the recording, one of the other voices laughed. Then Travis again. "Like the one I'm seeing now. Married to some construction guy. Nice enough, maybe. But no fire. No passion. She told me he hasn't touched her in months." Every head in the room turned toward Rachel. She lifted both hands to her face like she could hide inside them. I watched her shoulders shake. But the recording kept going. "What's her name?" the blonde voice asked. "Rachel," Travis said. "Pretty woman. Works in HR. But way too good for the life she's living." Gasps again. I could feel the whole room leaning into the sound. Not just hearing it. Feeling it. Feeling the disrespect. The filth. The bragging. Feeling what it meant for a man to speak about someone's wife like that in public. I paused the audio. The silence after was even louder. "But that's not the whole story," I said. Travis shouted from the middle of the room, "This is slander." I looked at him. "Is it?" He took another step, face twisting. "You can't do this." "Can't what?" I asked. "Tell the truth? Play your own voice through speakers. You recorded me illegally." I gave a small shrug. "No. Maine is a one-party consent state." I checked. That hit him hard. He looked around the room as if someone might still save him. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke for him. So I nodded to Sam again. The screen changed. Slide after slide lit up the wall. Photos. Messages. Dates. Hotel receipts. Pictures of Travis with married women from nearby towns. One after another. One pattern. One man. One game. Megan Harper, I said. Emily Brooks. Lisa Carter. Faces in the crowd stiffened. Some recognized the names. Some knew the old stories. Some were just now putting them together. Travis Cole is not some hero rescuing unhappy women, I said. He hunts them. Married women. Lonely women. Women in weak places. He goes after them. He uses them. Then he leaves when he gets bored. No. Rachel cried suddenly. The whole room turned to her. Tears ran down her face now, cutting through her makeup. That's not. Her voice broke. She swallowed. That's not how it was. Travis looked at her sharply and I caught that look. Fear. For the first time all night I saw real fear in him. Not for her. For himself. I stepped off the stage and stood a little closer to them, still holding the mic. Then tell them, Rachel, I said quietly. Tell them what it was. She looked at Travis. Then at me. Then at the floor. Nothing came out. Because what could she say? That she thought she was special? That she thought she was different from the others? That she believed the things he whispered to her in private while he laughed about women in public? The room was so still that even breathing sounded loud. And then Travis snapped. You set me up, he shouted, pushing through the crowd toward me. You pathetic piece of... Careful, I said. Children are here. That only made him madder. He swung. This time I was ready. I ducked. His fist cut through empty air. His body lurched forward, off balance, stumbling past me while the whole room watched. A few people cried out. Someone yelled. He tried to hit him. Officer Ben, who had been standing near the back wall the whole time, moved in fast. Travis Cole, he barked, grabbing his arm. You're under arrest for assault. This is crap. Travis shouted, twisting hard. He planned all this. Ben pulled his hands behind him. Maybe. But you still threw the punch. The handcuffs clicked. That sound changed the whole room. Because up until then this had been scandal. Gossip. Drama. Now it was official. Public. Real. Travis looked around wildly as Ben led him toward the exit. Nobody stepped in. Nobody defended him. Nobody called it unfair. His power was gone. Just like that. And Rachel. Rachel stood there in the blue dress I had once bought out of love, crying in front of people she had known for years. I turned to her one last time. Rachel, I said softly into the mic, though the whole room could hear. Do you want to say anything? Tell your side. She shook her head. Her mouth opened once, but no words came. That hit me in a strange place. Because for weeks, I had imagined this moment as victory only. And it was victory. But it was also the death of something that had once been my whole life. I had loved her. Really loved her. And now there was nothing left to save. That's okay, I said at last. I think people understand. Ben took Travis through the doors. Travis kept shouting even then. Threats. Excuses. Angry noise. But nobody was listening anymore. Rachel followed after them a few seconds later, wiping tears with shaking hands, trying to hold herself together and failing. The crowd exploded the second the doors shut. Whispers. Questions. Phones glowing. People talking over each other. Union Hall had turned into a storm. Paige came up to me first, phone in hand, eyes huge. Noah, she said, almost breathless. That was, wow. I gave her a tired look. That's one word for it. Are you okay? It was such a simple question. And somehow it landed harder than all the others. Because for the first time in months I knew the answer. Yes, I said. I think I am. She studied my face like she was trying to see if I meant it. I did. Sam came over grinning like a wolf that had just watched the fence fall. Boss, he said quietly, that was one hell of a show. I let out a long breath. Think it'll hold? He laughed once. Travis is done. Not just here. In every town connected to this one by gossip, coffee, church, or Facebook. I almost smiled. And Rachel? He asked. That question stayed between us for a second. Then I looked around the hall. At neighbors. At people who had known me for years. At working people. Straight people. Flawed people. But mostly honest people. They both made choices, I said. Now they get to live with them. Mrs. Doyle passed nearby and squeezed my arm. She did not say much. She did not need to. Her eyes said enough. People knew. Not just what happened. But who had stood firm. Who had bragged. Who had lied. Who had broken. That mattered in a town like ours. More than money. More than charm. More than shiny trucks and perfect smiles. I stepped away from the center of the room for a minute and stood near the edge of the stage, looking out at the hall I had prepared piece by piece. The lights. The tables. The sound. The timing. Every part mattered. That was the thing about building. Whether it was a deck, A house or a downfall, people only noticed the final shape. They did not always see the frame underneath. But I saw it. From the moment I found the first text on Rachel's phone. From the moment I heard Travis laugh in that bar. From the moment he punched me and thought my silence meant weakness. Every move after that had been part of the structure. The recording. The parade. The pressure. The note. The fear. The public truth. And the most beautiful part of all? I had not needed to make Travis into something he was not. I only gave him room to be exactly who he already was. Proud. Cruel. Careless. Angry. Men like that always think their worst moments are accidents. They are wrong. Their worst moments are just their real selves, finally seen in daylight. Sam handed me a fresh beer. Now what? He asked. I looked toward the doors where Rachel had gone. For 1 second, a memory flashed in me. Her laughing in our kitchen. Her feet on the dashboard during road trips. Her hand in mine at the county fair years ago. The woman I loved had been real once. Or maybe I had only loved the part of her that I was allowed to see. Either way, that chapter was over. Now, I said. I took the beer and looked around one more time. At last, I stopped being the fool in someone else's story. Sam nodded slowly. And what do you become? I thought about that. About the man on the bar floor. The man staring at an empty bed. The man watching his wife walk into another man's house. The man who kept his hands steady while his heart broke. Then I answered. Myself. He lifted his bottle. To that. We clinked drinks. The crowd still buzzed behind us, feeding on the story that would now live in this town for years. Kids would grow up hearing pieces of it. Couples would whisper about it on porches. Men at bars would lower their voices when cheating came up. Women would think twice before believing a smooth liar with a perfect smile. Travis had walked into our town thinking he could take what he wanted and leave nothing behind but broken homes and hurt people. He was wrong. Rachel had looked at my rough hands, my work boots, my tired face after long days, and thought she could trade all of that for something shinier. She was wrong too. And me? I knew exactly what I was doing. I built a trap so clean, so careful, so complete that by the time they understood it, there was no way out. They did not fall because I pushed them. They fell because every bad choice they made led them to the edge, and when the ground finally gave way, the whole town was there to see it. The good man had stopped playing nice. And once that happened, there was no saving the people who mistook his silence for weakness.